Hi, it's Jason here from Talking Hens. Today we're going to have a bit of a look to do with the Chooktred feeder, a feeder that we sell a lot of in our shop for a very good reason. So the Chooktred, great for up to 8 hens. It looks after 8 hens, stops your rodents and wild birds from accessing feed, and you can have quite significant losses with that. Chicken comes along, they step on the tread plate, they get access to their food. So it's a great design because the access to the food, it opens, the flap opens backwards. All right, we don't want feeders that open up like a mouth. It scares chickens, which is not ideal, of course. Also, moisture, rain can come in too and dampen the feed, which we do not want. Also, rodents can learn to jump in the side, while birds can fly in too with any feeder that opens like a mouth. But with the Chooktred, it's got the backward opening. It's got a nice quiet closer as well. A small rubber piece here, so when it closes, it doesn't clang and make a noise, which again will just scare chickens. So we don't want the tread-on feeders to be too wide. That's also very important because only 1-2 chickens need to be eating at one time. They don't all get onto that, need to be at the table at the same time. So we don't want it too wide. We really want the feeder to take up the body of the bird. All right, so other wild birds can't get in. They need to take up that space, and most chickens will be able to take up the space here when they're feeding. So because they're standing back to activate the feeder, and they can easily reach forward, rodents will find it very difficult to put weight right up at the front here where the leverage point is. That they start moving forward and they just cannot access the feed. Another thing with the feeder for training your chickens, you just depress the foot plate like so. In the gap, we slide the lip on the top of the feeder. Release that. The chickens see the feed just like a regular feeder, and they eat from that for, say, 3 days normally is enough, and then we test them out, see how clever they are, lift the lip, and drop it down, and they come trotting along again, and they say, well, the feed was here yesterday, and then one steps on there, looking for the feed, and there it goes, and they all get used to eating from the feeder. We haven't had any chickens, no matter what breed, who haven't worked it out within 3 days. It's normally the owners that don't work it out rather than the hens. So another little trick is the grid. We have a grill inside the feeder. We do not want to ever remove that, and the feed should always stay below the grill. The chickens will easily get their heads between the gaps for feeding, and if the feed comes through, they start to flick and they can start to make a mess. They can drag food onto the tread plate, and that defeats the purpose of the feeder. So always leave the grill in the feeder and make sure the feed always stays below that grill. If it's running low, we need to tip the feed into a bucket before we replenish the feed. And they're really important. Then mix the powder that's left over down below back into the feed that's been you've replenished the feeder with. So yeah, otherwise a great design. The only thing is, chickens can perch up here, so you want to put something on here to stop chickens from perching on top of the feeder can be a really good idea. Keep it level, and it works wonderfully. Also, one little hint, if you have earwigs, sometimes earwigs can get in at different times of the year. If they get into your feeder, and they get into any feeder, add a bit of diatomaceous earth. We have it in our Bugs Away product. You can add that in, mix it in a little bit into your feed, and that would desiccate any insect, any slater, any insect that might want to get into the feed. So it's a great sort of way of deterring insects. And that's our Chooktred feeder.